So Nintendo just dropped Intel on the Switch 2. Unfortunately, there's already a little bit of controversy around the price, but let's break that down and figure out what that is. During the Nintendo Direct of April 2nd, we got a deluge of Switch details. Too much. And overall, it was very impressive. Via the overview trailer for the Switch 2, we see the bigger screen, right? 6.2 versus 7.9 inches. Small details, but it makes a difference while you're playing. We got 1080p support, 120 frames per second, which is pretty impressive, and HDR support. While we're at it, 4K via the dock. My most favorite hardware enhancer has to be the magnetic Joy-Cons. It's so sick how they just attach naturally. Like most of our devices today, phones, tablets, chargers, all that good stuff, the magnetic connector just seems so satisfying. Now the Joy-Con mouse sounds like a good idea, but is it practical? Most of the time with the Switch at least, I'm playing on the sofa, laying down in bed. There's no real way to use the Joy-Con as a mouse. There's no hard surface. So we'll see how that plays out. That seems gimmicky, but neat. And internal storage got a major boost, right? We got 32 gigs to 256 gigs. That's a big increase. More on why that's important later. Probably one of the most important details they released was the ability to play select, I said select, Switch games on the Switch 2, physical and digital. Overall, it was a nice breakdown. The Switch 2 looks stylish, sleek, which are generally major wins. A nice surprise though is that it's going to be available on June 5th. That's way sooner than I thought, which has me excited. What about the games? That's the most important thing here, right? First off, it's Mario Kart World. This is basically Mario Kart. We know what we're getting, right? It's the last game that got the most attention. Mario Kart generally is an instant buy for me. Though new tricks like jumping off the walls, that's pretty cool. And cows on a scooter? Sure, why not? We have new levels, mid-game character transformations. All this sounds good and fun. So generally speaking, this is pretty much a safe buy on launch for me. Let me know what you think down below. Are you excited for Mario Kart World? Next up, Donkey Kong Bonanza. It looks fun. It's a nice little 3D adventure game with the standard characters, new world maps and levels. I've never been a DK guy, but 3D adventure games is my jam, so I'm excited to check it out. And for those interested, we have a new Kirby, right? Kirby Air Raiders, which gets a lot of attention. Seems like a lot of fun. So any fans out there, I'm sure they'll enjoy it. One of the cool features that I think were announced during the Direct announcement was support for GameCube. That's right, so the Switch 2 through Nintendo's online service and game subscription, not sure how all that works, but they're gonna support GameCube, which is awesome. The GameCube is one of my favorite Nintendo consoles. I loved it dearly back in the day, played plenty of games on that one. And it seems some of those classics are gonna be available at launch, which is fantastic. Like I said, I don't know how that subscription service works bundle, but I wanna check it out. I wanna see if it's worth it. And if it is, I'm all down for it. Having a chance at launch to play Wind Waker, perfect. Also a modern updated game controller, that's a plus. Next up was the announcement of Switch 2 enhanced games. So they mentioned we're gonna have some games that can be played on the Switch 2 from the Switch. We're gonna have games that are built directly for the Switch 2, and then we're gonna have Switch 2 enhanced games, which is basically Switch games that get an update to take advantage of the Switch 2. And at launch, they're gonna have a fantastic lineup. We have Super Mario Party Jamboree, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, Kirby, Metroid Prime 4, Pokemon League Z through A. I mean, most of these I'm definitely getting. Ideally, there's a Switch 2 version, but if not, the enhanced version is a plus. Of course, this enhancement isn't free. There's a little price inclusion purchase involved, but at least the idea is cool. I know PlayStation does something similar, so that's all good. One of the controversies, and I say controversies with quotes here, is the support for the game key card on the Switch 2. So the Switch had this as well. It wasn't so widespread, but it looks like the Switch 2 will also support it, maybe even more games, where you will buy a physical case somewhere at a retail store, but unfortunately inside it's just a little cartridge, but there's no game in there. What it does, it really downloads the game for you, so it's a digital version where you bought a hard physical copy of a case. Seems like a waste of plastic. Unfortunately, you should just be able to buy the code. Seems very misleading to buy a case but not being a physical game, and you still need the game key inserted into the Switch to play it either way. So I don't see a benefit here. I'm confused to where the player benefits, so it just seems odd, very wasteful. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm not a fan of this game key card physical, not physical thing, but if I misunderstood something, please let me know down below. Another issue seems to be the price of the console. So we have a basic edition version SKU for about $450, and then a $500 version that's bundled with Mario Kart World. It seems fairly priced. It is a lot more expensive than the Switch initial launch, so that's definitely gonna turn off some people or limit the user base initially. Is it too expensive? Let me know what you think down below. And the $50 difference between the bundle and the non-bundle seems like a fair value, especially when considering the price of the actual games. So going by the Switch 2 official website, it looks like Mario Kart World is gonna cost $80. That's a big jump. And it's not clear if that's the physical version or the digital. Some sources put the digital at 80 euros and the physical at 90 euros. Like how does that translate into US dollars if it really conveys here in the States? Yet at the same time, Donkey Kong Bonanza is going to be priced at $70, which comes out of just a little bit later. There seems to be a lot of confusion around the prices for the games and physical versus digital, this whole controversy again. So there seems to be a mix-up with the price of the games, which isn't to anybody's benefit and just adds confusion. So why the rise in prices at the start of a new hardware cycle? Is it tariffs? Inflation? Most likely a little bit of both. Game prices have generally gone down over the years when adjusted for inflation. That's key, right? Because the nominal value just keeps going up. That still doesn't exclude wild price hikes, and dare I say predatory? Maybe not yet. I don't want to simply wash this problem away as Nintendo or any other company as being greedy. There's data showing that without new players, console and PC growth rely on the prices. And as you can see here, the real world value for them has decreased over the decades, even though the nominal price is going up again. This graph even shows the bump during the 2020s has pretty much been wiped out. So there's definitely a bit more involved here. I'm no economist, just trying to understand myself what's going on. And definitely don't forget the recent layoffs and closures. That's been horrible. 2024 was a bloodbath, and 2025 is not off to a great start either. That's horrible for any human being that's lost everything. So again, I want to iterate, this is a very thin line. If Nintendo and other companies aren't careful, this can really exclude players. Looking at you, Rockstar, I do want to reiterate, this is a very thin line. A lot of companies, Nintendo included, have to be very, very careful. These price increases can shut out a lot of people. Gaming will be a luxury enjoyed by the privileged few. If so, the market hopefully eventually catches up and the prices should go down. But until then, most people will be priced out. It's a waiting game. This isn't a scenario I want to see happen. Gaming will become inaccessible and most likely resulting in piracy, which at the end of the day just hurts more game developers. That took a gloomy turn, but it is the real world. But I will say I'm optimistic. I'm excited for the Switch 2. Can't wait to get my hands on it. So I'm hoping for the best. Are you excited? Let me know. Later.